The purpose of this video is to show you how to shade. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace this circle so that I have something to shade. Then I want to practice doing basic shading scales. So I start all the way at the darkest value of a 1. And then I slowly let up on the pressure of my pencil to create lighter and lighter values. I then can use my blending stump in small circles to provide those really light values. And I can switch it around if I want to make sure that it's perfectly blended. I want to practice several of these. I can layer them. So going from that darkest value of a 1 to the lightest value. And it takes a lot of practice to be able to slowly put them on top of each other. Once you feel like you've had enough practice, you are going to start trying to apply that shading. So the first thing you have to think about is, where is the light coming from? So if the light is coming from here, that means that the whitest value, which we have these scales that are kind of nice, so you can see that value right there is going to be a 10, and it's going to follow the curvature of the form itself, getting darker and darker as it goes. And then it's going to have a shadow directly opposite it. So that shadow is going right there, and it starts at the base of the piece and then circles around. And it's just your object squished. The higher the sun is, so if it was directly up above, the more squished your object is. The more to the side it is, the more elongated your object is. So think about it, in the end of the day and the beginning of the day, your shadows are really long. And then as the sun moves up, your shadow becomes shorter and shorter and shorter. Then you start with that dark pressure of a 1, and then you slowly let up the pressure, knowing that the blending stump is going to do the hard work. You want it to stay clean and consistent. You want your lines to stay close together. It gets longer towards the back here, so my dark pressures last longer because there's less light hitting it. The bottom part here, there would be very little light hitting it. And then now the light's going to start to hit it pretty intensely, so I'm going to quickly back off. It still goes from the darkest value to the lightest value. That's not what I want. It would be at that spot. So I'm going to flip my pencil over to the other side because I can get light pressures this direction. And you'll notice it's not straight across. It stayed circular, just like. Okay. I'm starting to get that curve, but I have a little bit of messiness. So I'm going to take my eraser, and rather than erase and start over, I'm going to pull off some media by going in a circle. The media then gets transferred to my eraser, which I can clean on the tabletop like this. See? And then I can go back in. I keep the last thing I do is the shadow, which is the darkest part. And the darkest part of the shadow is always right next to the form. And then it slowly goes from about a 1 to an 8. Very important to get the full effect. You need to clean up around your form. So that you have a nice clean edge. Don't forget that you can use your eraser as a drawing tool. Once you've completed that, there are many other different ways to shade.